Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from diverse perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 248, we welcome back to the podcast special guest Daniel Nahmod. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host, and I'm here today in 818 Studios with my producer.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Croft, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Authentic Spiritual Journey. As always, we welcome you to a brand new week. It is March 20th, 2023, and I'm really excited about our guest. You know, we've had some very famous people, and I get starstruck every now and then, and whenever I'm around this person, I get a little starstruck just because I get a little starstruck just because
you guys have a bromance.
I know, but he is so talented, and he's a wordsmith with a capital W. I'm so happy to have Daniel Nahmod back on the show.
Dave, flattery.
Yeah, Daniel, welcome. Glad you're here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm blushing already.
And Daniel, where are you joining us from today?
I'm in Orange County, California, about 3,000 miles away from your Orange County.
I know, it's crazy, right? That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess you're in your home studio there?
I am. I'm in the studio built from gifts from nice people over the course of the pandemic. That's right. When we moved into this house just before the world stopped turning in November of 2019, and I started doing Facebook live shows right in March when my schedule went empty. And for the first 6 or 9 months or a year, I was in this room, but it was kind of down to the studs and fairly awful atmosphere. But I literally built it during the pandemic, and each piece of drywall on the wall and the door and the flooring, they were all individual gifts from people, honest to God. This soundproof room.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Well, your shows, I mean, I checked into a number of them and sent you tithes as well during that time. And
Yes,
also had you come, sing for various classes and things. And I think it's so important to lift that up because, not my giving, but the giving that came your way, because you were filling a very important need during that time. And I think your music always has, but I think especially during COVID when there was nowhere to go and, experiencing the sacred was getting harder and harder. Because even though we could go to Walmart, we couldn't go to church. And I'm still working on my forgiveness work on that one.
A little salty over that.
A little salty over that, yeah.
I'm a little salty about the
I was also... Yeah, exactly. Well, here in Florida, of course, everybody loves to complain about DeSantis, but he got the kids back to school and our economy survived. So I'm grateful that the kids were able to go back to school. I'm grateful that my son could do orchestra in person because he was a really smart kid sitting at home going out of his mind, and the kids weren't even getting sick. So, yeah. That was a really tough time. And speaking of that, my son is one of the beneficiaries of your music as well. He, a lot of times now he'll say, "Can we listen to Water? I need some Daniel." Oh. And he's 15, almost 16, and has, he's driving now and has grown up literally on your music, Daniel. When he was 6 months old, he was sitting on the step with you at church and you were showing him things on your guitar. So, yeah.
I remember that actually. Yeah. And that's I actually, I'm certainly a hypocrite in 1,000 different ways. My songs are smarter than me, but I cannot resent growing older if it means that somebody 15 or 20 years old has been hearing my voice and enjoying it for 20 years. I mean, this is not something I can regret that many years have passed, if that makes sense. Like my niece is now 19 or 20, and she told me she had a tough time in school, and she told me that she listened to one of my songs every day before going to school in high school, and it's not a song I would have expected to do good for somebody that way, and it was so meaningful. It's really meaningful to hear that about your son. Tell him I'm flattered. That's really cool.
Yes, well, and he will. Thank you. I will, and he will be at the event that we're going to do coming up this week. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this show, because I want people to hear, a little bit about what your journey has been like, what you've been up to, because, even though we're the folks up front and people think our lives are perfect, which is funny, really, we're growing souls. And one of the things I've loved about our relationship, Daniel, and my relationship with Dave is the same. We're growing, we're maturing, and we still have points that really stretch us. I don't know anybody that the time of COVID and the lockdown didn't stretch, so it required all of us to pivot and to grow in ways, that were unimaginable a few months before. So I think as we are going to be getting together, on Sunday, the 26th, you're going to be with us at Unity North Tampa in the morning and a short concert. And then we're going to drive to Orlando and do something completely different in the evening, a music and worship event at Orlando CSL downtown. And I think that's going to be, I think as you come to do both of those things, that you're learning your shifted consciousness, your awareness, your new songs, all that's going to be a part of that experience.
I'm really looking forward to the whole day, actually. It's going to be a lot of fun. I didn't actually realize in the first couple of years, and when I say Facebook show, when I say I did Facebook shows for that time, I mean, I did, it's probably, I haven't counted in the last few months, but it's probably up to close to 500 Facebook Live broadcasts of different kinds. And it was initially, and maybe actually even still is, it was really just intended, and it's not to sound noble, it really just was intended to keep people company. Because like you said, okay, you said my music has done that for people for a lot of years. That's nice to hear, because the truth is, it, and I know that it's true, that my music has been intended to do that anyway. Whether it's succeeded or not is not my business, really, but it's always been intended to provide a bit of comfort and a bit of thought and a bit of company and a bit of compassion and a bit of empathy. It's intended to, one of my sort of phrases I once stumbled on that sort of summed it up is like a song like One Power is meant to make the walls invisible for a few minutes at a time, right? So, and the water songs, of course, are all about peace of mind, and a song like I Don't Need to Know and the sacred love songs, the whole body of work really revolves around, I guess, probably how high intensity and ADD my brain is and how much I would like to be calmed down. I once heard a songwriting coach say that the best song says something either that everyone wants to hear or that everyone wants to say. And for a songwriter, you end up saying what you most need to hear, or singing what you most need to hear. So songs about peace of mind are a thing I do and, mean deeply. And all of a sudden in March of 2020, I can't get in front of any audiences like you can't. And the thing I most want to do is the thing I'm unable to do. And although I'm not a huge fan of Facebook or social media in general, I have to say that it provided a service and made something borderline miraculous possible. It made it possible for me to sing in people's living rooms hundreds of times and keep some people company. And if it made a difference, of course, again, it's not up to me. I'll tell you, it made a difference for me to feel useful and to feel helpful.
Yes.
And, purposeful during that time. So coming out of the pandemic, I'm not walking away from the lovely people around the world who have kept me company and whom I've kept company They actually chat during my shows like I'm not there sometimes. It's awesome. I mean, they're like sharing news sharing news with each other. My grandbaby was just born. Congratulations. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Oh, good luck. All these things. People bring real feelings to this
Yes.
small
Yes.
small cozy group, and it's really
Mm.
been, like I said, much more special than I expected it to be. I didn't know what I was doing. In fact, I didn't even know how to go live. I actually called a friend and asked her to put her pissant little 17-year-old teen on, who was broadcasting live on Instagram at the time. And I said, "Listen, kid, what the hell is Instagram Live, and how do you do it?" And he spent like
Yeah.
45 minutes on the he spent 45 minutes on the phone with me telling me how. And then at the end I said, "So am I doing Instagram or Facebook?" And he said, "Instagram, nobody's over 40. Facebook, nobody's under 40." And I'm like, "Facebook it is." He taught me how to do it. I went live on Facebook, and it changed the
Mm.
course of the shutdown for me and for my family,
Yes.
because when I started doing those shows, um, I'm sorry, it's one long run-on thought here, but when I started doing those shows,
No, go for it.
they
Go
were
for it.
they were
Hmm.
intended as a gift, 100% as a gift. They were intended because I did hear, like I'm sure you did, I did hear from people saying, the first thing I did was 12 shows in 12 nights in March of 2020. 12 evenings I logged on live and sang for people. And within a few nights, I was getting notes from people saying, "You're the only thing I've got to look forward to all day. My family is 2,000 miles
Yeah.
away. I'm living alone. I'm afraid to
Yeah.
go out and get groceries. Thank you for singing water for me. Thank you for singing I Don't Need to Know or Empty Hands for me. It's a great comfort." When I finished the first 12,
Hmm.
I couldn't think of a reason not to continue, because it was clearly helping, let's say, not
Yeah.
millions, not even thousands. It was
Clearly.
helping a handful of people in a very scary time. But what I was going to say is the gift that I
Mm.
didn't expect was the number of people who started sending my family gifts of money. They sent it by PayPal. They sent it by check. They sent it by Venmo. They sent birthday gifts to Jude. They sent gifts for our home. They sent us T-shirts from their vacations. I mean, I at some point I held up a stack of cards, like 6 inches tall, um, and so I didn't know. I mean, I knew that I, for 20 something years, had been singing nice songs for nice people. I didn't
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
how deep the well of generosity ran, of how
Yes. Yes.
kind that group of people was going to be for my family when we went to actually zero income. Um, and they supported us in such a way that we didn't have to call the bank and say we can't pay the mortgage. We didn't have to call Edison and say we couldn't pay the electric bill. We could send Jude to the local summer camp so that he could get out of our unair conditioned fixer upper house for a summer and be around at least a couple of other kids, and to be around some teenagers cool teenage, I mean, they changed our lives. Those people who I was really just trying to give a little gift of a few songs to, and they reciprocated far more than I could ever have given them. Um,
Mm.
so it's really been an amazing, that part of this experience. When I say I'm in the studio that they built, I mean literally those same people. Sure, I'll buy you a soundproof door. I'll buy a couple of I'll buy a box of hardwood floor for you. Soundproof drywall. I know, I'm sure Dave knows. Soundproof drywall is, instead of $10 or $12 a sheet, it's $60 or $70 a sheet. So somebody bought
Hmm.
each
Yeah.
piece of
Yeah.
drywall on the wall. There's 6 or 7 or 8 of them in the room, maybe 10 of them in the room, including the ceiling. And it's been like that. It's
Hmm.
been. Uh, I always consider myself a generous person, but I didn't know. I didn't know that kind of generosity was going to be in my life experience. I would never have asked for it or expected it, and I didn't see it coming. And I still really, Melina and I still shake our heads, my wife and I, about what we experienced and what we received. Just yesterday, I mentioned the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that I had done a gig in Detroit. I mentioned it on my Monday night shows. I'm still doing a Monday night show. Everyone's invited always to join me. 9 o'clock in Florida, but 6 o'clock California time. Daniel Nahmod USA is my Facebook page. It's not a plug. You're invited, and it's free. But I mentioned Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I opened the mail, and somebody had ordered me a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame t-shirt, and it arrived in the mail. And it's just been like that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, sorry.
yeah. Oh no, this is good. I'm actually feeling one of your songs come on though. And I think it is I Don't Need to Know. So Daniel, do you mind doing that for us? That would be great.
When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Well, still I find crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment I remember it comes so clear to me that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I could be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Oh, I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go. 'Cause God knows. God knows. God knows.
And Daniel, thank you for sharing that. That is a cool acoustic version of that tune. And I can tell you from experience that the ministries I have served, that's been a really important song, because there's something in the human psyche, and I'll call it the ego, but I hate to vilify the ego. We'll call it the personality. There's something in the personality that absolutely wants to know what's next. And this issue with the personality, it has this illusion of control. And I think what so many of your songs lead me to personally, just in my own journey, like, it may not mean this to anybody else, but in my own journey, what your songs always bring me back to is, there is a higher way, even if I can't see it right now. Like, even if my personality right now is struggling and wants to know, and wants to figure it out, and wants to control what's next, and I need my answers, like that song, I don't need to know. I can breathe and go, okay, I'm doing all that I can. I'm not just sitting over here saying, okay, universe, rain down blessings and do nothing. I'm, doing my spiritual work every day. I am seeking to awaken my life through my spiritual practice. I'm giving to others. I'm tithing. I'm setting goals. So at some point, I have to believe that there is something divine, something bigger than me, that includes me, but something bigger than me that is guiding this. So your songs enable me to trust God, higher power, universe in a completely different way than maybe if I'd never heard your music. I feel something comes through you that is holy, and I do think it absolutely has to have your participation, but I agree that it is much bigger than you. It is the universe speaking through you, because the truths in your songs, I don't think I've heard another New Thought person, musical artist, who is as from center as you are. And I've heard a lot of them. And I think it's because of your desire to be kind, to be a man of God, to serve your family, to serve humanity. So as all this has come back around for you, I'm actually not surprised at all. Like, not at all. Because even when you show up to perform at a church, or, even if you're singing one song, you are all in. And I don't know if you remember when we first met each other in Phoenix, and we were rehearsing and everything. And I said, Daniel, I just love when you're all in. You go, oh, you want me to go all in? I go, all in. Yeah, all in. And you said, I can do that. I said, I know you can. And that's what I love. That's what inspires me. And it's why I figured out a way to get you all the way from your Orange County to my Orange County here in the next week. So yeah, a big fan, Daniel. Always have been, always will be, because your journey comes through. And, I want to mention too, that you do have a lot of new music out. I just got some of it recently from you, from your album. I believe it's called Real, right?
Yeah. It's called Real. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, say.
Yeah, during these Facebook shows, during this time, the first year and a half, 2 years of, not performing, but working on this mess of a house, which, if we'd had a bigger bank account coming in, would have been a teardown, not a fixer-upper. It's fixer-upper extreme edition. And so I was working on this house in very, very unqualified and dangerous ways, and doing all these Facebook shows. But what I didn't actually honestly realize is that I was writing a bunch of songs along the way. They kind of trickled out of me. So about a year and a half, maybe 2 years in, I realized I've got like 15 new songs that may be worth spending some time on and maybe worth hearing for other people. You know, you never know. And I've written probably a couple thousand songs, and most of them are awful, and nobody ever wants to hear them. You know, to me, it's not even it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just a fact of the creative process. You're going to miss more often than you hit. You know, I always take comfort in the Hall of Fame batting average is 300 or 310 kind of thing. You know, well, that means 7 out of 10 times you're swinging and missing. And I would for sure put my batting average lower than that. But there were 12, 13, 14 songs that I thought these have some value and they say some things not only that I want to say that are true for me, but also feel timely. Several of the songs for sure are heavily influenced by what we were all going through for those couple of years. In fact, Jude was just listening to one of them the other day, and he said, "Daddy, it's a shame that you didn't finish this song sooner." And he listens to every version of every song. He is stuck in the car with me as I listen. That's where I listen to songs as I'm writing them and recording them. He knows them all by heart. In fact, he sang on the new album without realizing it, because one day I caught him on my voice recorder singing one of the songs on the album with no accompaniment, and I stuck it on the album as a bonus track. And no, I did not ask I did ask his permission, but when he said no, I ignored him, because frankly, I brought him into this world and I can take him back out. So he sang actually with me at the album release concert. So he's a little part of this album, but he listened to a long process of writing and rewriting. The songs are about real feelings. They're about missing someone who's gone. They're about building myself back up. They're about achieving something. They're about healing. They're about admiring somebody whose strength and courage is hidden just beneath the surface. There have been a couple of songs that are particularly impactful as I sing them live. One of them is a song called "Steel in Your Spine," in which I say to someone, it's amazing what you've become given where you came from and given what you've been through, that no one would know unless they ask. You know, an ordinary mortal would have quit by now. So I know that you bleed and bruise and hurt, but you must have steel in your spine. And I just sang it yesterday in a concert, and I told them that I knew the song was saying something resonant because the first time I performed it, 3 of my closest friends each individually contacted me and asked if I'd written it about them. And when I sing it live, I can feel people relating, whether I'm talking about their own story or whether they're thinking of somebody that they admire and love who went through hell and back and arrived a whole human being. And the trick is, of course, and you know this in ministry, you don't have to scratch too far beneath the surface of almost anybody's story to find reason for real admiration for what they've been through and their perseverance and their strength. Just to arrive where they're at is triumphant, and you don't really know unless you ask and unless they answer truthfully, which both ifs don't always happen. So anyway, the song and the album about real feelings. And I think I like the album. I think I'm proud of it. As I listen to it, I enjoy it. And there's some intensity to it. And I tried to do something different, something I've never done before musically. With every single song, I tried at least one moment that I had never done before in a song. And so, yeah, I'll be singing for sure several of the new songs when I'm in town later in March.
Great. And the first one on that album, I ended up just kind of putting on repeat. It was interesting. I'm spacing on the name right now. What's the first track on that album?
The opening words of the album are, "Do you ever feel but try to ignore something real, something more? Well, your secret's safe, but by the way, I feel it too." And that's the song is called "I'm Gonna Find It." Yeah.
I'm gonna find it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to find it.
And I think that song, yeah, I'm going to find it. So that's my request for that you do play that in person, and we'll definitely put it maybe at the end of the show today, Daniel, if you don't mind. We'll put that track at the end. But I do want to lift that up a little bit. And you said something really important that I want to lift up for our listeners, because it will help me to repeat it as well. What you said is, well, maybe I haven't helped millions or thousands. I helped some. And I think sometimes in our minds, this has happened to me in ministry where, you think if they're not 1,000 people or 500 in the seats, you're not doing something right. And what I've really learned is that ministry to a few, it does impact the hundreds, the thousands, the 10,000s, the millions. We don't always see what that impact is, but I had shared recently on a show that there's a woman that had listened to the show. Her mom listens to the show, and she started listening to the show. And then she was talking to her husband about it. Now her kids are listening. So, that's never going to show up on a tally that I get from Spotify or Google Play or iTunes,
Right.
all those, because our podcast is everywhere and it's in 100 countries and we're like at 200,000 downloads. And I do love all that. But the fact is, if one is impacted and we can manage to stay on the air, we've done job well done. And I think we can never know, the impact that our work has. So it's like, I want to say to our listeners, if you help one person today in the supermarket, job well done. If you work with the public and you're able to be kind and generous and gentle and understanding and wise and knowledgeable, you've done a good thing for the world today. That it's not if you do something that you think of as big and grand, like those things are big and grand, right? Anything that you do with great love to me is big and grand. And I think sometimes our mind, wants to make up a different story. But I was glad you highlighted that, because you have seen simply you showing up and sharing the gifts you have been supported in ways you never would have imagined. And I think that's true for all of us, because anytime we give, it puts us in the flow of all good. All giving is good. All giving is good. That law of cause and effect, that law of giving, it's often called the law of circulation. That's what you're perfectly describing. As you give, so too shall you receive. And this makes it a double blessing to give. And when you give expecting nothing in return, I feel like the universe goes, oh yes, because here's a gift back, because this gift even had a dose of humility with it, right? So anyway, I want to lift you up for that, Daniel. And again, say, I can't wait for you to be in town. And when I say in town, Daniel, I know you're going to be several places. With me, you're going to be at Unity North Tampa this Sunday on March 26th. Our service is at 11 a.m. And then you're going to do about an hour concert. Excuse me, I'm guessing after service, we talked about probably an hour concert around 1, from like 1 to 2, Sunday, March 26th at Unity North Tampa. And then in the evening, you're going to come back and you're going to come back with me to Orlando and we're going to do a music and worship event, and evening together starts at 7. And of course, there's information on my website as well, and it'll be in the show notes. But Daniel, what do you want to say where else you're going to be, or are those details not all ironed out yet?
I only know so far that I'm singing at Unity of Sebring on Thursday night before our Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Which is, I've been visiting there for
Unity
a long time. Yeah. And, I love visiting Unity of Sebring, and I'll invite my friends in Sebring to come up on Sunday for our evening together. I'll bet you a couple of them do.
Daniel, there's a gentleman that follows you, and he lives in Fort Pierce, Florida. And I spoke with him right before this. He said, please tell him I said hello. He doesn't know me, but please tell him I said hello. I said, oh, he knows you, because he has sung to our mastermind group many times. And I can assure you he will say hello back. And he will drive from Fort Pierce, Florida to hear you, if not in Tampa, most definitely in Orlando. He drives a long way to get filled up spiritually, and is always touched by your music. So Daniel, as always, thank you so much for being with us. I know on Facebook, you're Daniel Nahmod USA, and your website, though, is simply danielnahmod.com, correct?
That is correct.
Yep. Okay. All right. Very good. And I know this album, Real, that you spoke of is your 23rd album. I mean, what an accomplishment that is. And again, friends, I hope you'll check out Daniel's music. It's on Spotify. It's on you can find out more on his website. And we'll be happy to have you support Daniel as we are on his journey as he supports us. And we're going to leave you with one last song from Daniel Nahmod, and blessings on the journey, dear friend.
Do you ever feel but try to ignore something real, something more? Well, your secret's safe, but by the way, I feel it too. So this is me, I've got to go, I've got no plan, I've just got to know what's calling me, 'cause I believe it's something true, and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. If it's the last thing I ever do, last thing I ever do, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. It's just a matter of time, yeah. I'm gonna find it. When I do, I promise you, it's gonna be real. I've never been the kind of guy to stride the stage, to own the night. I'd rather hide, I'd sooner ride along than drive. But in my dream, how sweet it feels. The red turns green, hands on the wheel. The road is mine. It's finally time to bring on the light, and I'm gonna find it. 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 If it's the last thing I ever do, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Just a matter of time, yeah. I'm gonna find it. And when I do, I promise you, it's gonna be real. Smiling at strangers, passing time, and I still alive. No. We're staring down danger in overtime. What destiny is mine? I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Gonna find it. If it's the last thing I ever do, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Yeah. When I do, I swear to you, it's gonna be real. Gonna hold it in my hand. Gonna taste it on my tongue. Be real. Gonna show it to the world. Gonna tell them what I've done. Yeah. Gonna see it with my eyes. Gonna carry it in my arms. Oh, yeah. Gonna shout it to the wind. Gonna feel it in my heart.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Thank you for listening to the show today, dear friends. I'm always happy to have you along the journey. If you're seeking deeper work, though, I'm going to invite you into one-on-one coaching with me. In my coaching work, I get to glean from my over 30 years of experience of working with individuals and leaders in the community on their spiritual journey. So I have a wealth of information that will help you along the journey, and it will be supportive. It will be supportive of your dreams, goals, and desires, but it will also be confrontive, because I am going to help you confront those limiting patterns and beliefs and help you break through those aspects and move into looking at life in a more holistic way. So even though it will be confrontive and at times even challenging, you will learn to grow, you will learn to prosper, and you will evolve into the person you have always wanted to be. Friends, the answers lie within you, and I am so honored to help empower you to live that truth and that goodness in the world. If you want to learn more about coaching with me, simply go to CynthiaAliceAnderson.com and go to the coaching section for more information. That's CynthiaAliceAnderson.com and go to coaching, and I'll be happy to set up a one-on-one call so we can discuss how I can best support your journey. Thanks again for joining me today, dear friend, and blessings on the journey.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.